Hey, good morning. How you doing? Um, Today I'm going to talk about obstacles in our path. I wish life were easy, right? Don't we all? We can sometimes even look at others and think they've got an easy path through life, but the reality is that we don't actually know what people have been through, what they're going through. From the outside, it might look like someone has got an easy path, when in reality, there could be a whole host of things going on below the surface. The other thing about that is, the main thing that I want to talk about that is, we can look at life and just say, look at all these challenges that I've got. My life is full of struggle and hardship and things that are just there preventing me from overcoming what I want to achieve. And I'm not saying there aren't instances in life where the challenges are like that, because it is going to be for some people, but for all of us that's not the case, right? Sometimes the obstacles are the actual path, and that's a difficult thing to accept. I struggle with it even now sometimes when things are difficult, and I'm like, oh, really? But then when I take a step back and I take time out away from it, I look at it and I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? There's a reason why this is happening to me right now. And I'm not saying there's a reason for it, that everything happens to us in life, because there are some things that are unexplainable, at least to the human mind, right? There are things that are beyond our human level of comprehension that we will never understand why they've happened. And so I'm not here to try and explain those sets of things. But what I'm saying is, the reality of life is this. When for most of us who are listening, watching to this right now, there's a certain level of privilege that we have, and that can feel hard or difficult to understand. But the reality is, for the most of us who are in the position, who've got a phone, who've got access to the internet, who've got a roof over our heads, food on the table, it is a privilege. Even though it might not feel like it, it is a privilege. And so actually, in the context of obstacles in our lives, when we look at the story of people who have had less privilege, who have managed to overcome those obstacles and to achieve some level of personal success, these are ordinary, regular people like you and I. They're not people who come from a level of privilege. They don't come from wealth. They don't come from someone who just kind of came out of nowhere and helped them. These are people that have done the necessary. They have had some help, but it's because they've helped themselves first. And maybe that's the point, actually. Helping ourselves first. Often we see that people have achieved some level of success. When they've helped themselves first, then the helpers come. Whether you want to be religious or spiritual or whatever about it, right? There is something in the fact that we are resilient, and deep down and in our DNA there is something within us that allows us to be resilient, that will overcome those obstacles in our path. But if you don't believe it, then you're already defeated, right? They say, much of success is actually in the mind. It's not actually what you do, it's whether you believe it. So if you believe you're never going to overcome those obstacles, then you never will. The analogy that I've used before is maths. Maths is a love it or hate it topic, it seems to be, right? Because people are either okay with it, or they're just like, no, I'm rubbish at maths, I can't do it. And your brain, your mind is listening to what you say. If you tell yourself constantly you're rubbish at maths, you're going to be rubbish at maths, because that's the narrative that you've told yourself. And I'm not saying it's easy to overcome that necessarily, but it's not going to be, you're not going to achieve it if you keep telling yourself a narrative that is a self-defeating one. If you keep saying that these challenges are too much for me, these obstacles are too much for me, I'm not going to be able to overcome them, then naturally you will be not going to be able to do that. But we've seen people who have overcome. There are obstacles that you're going through. There are challenges that you are going through in life right now that people have overcome. People, ordinary people, as I've said before. Look up. read the stories, listen to the books, listen to the podcasts, watch the videos on YouTube, and see ordinary people like you and I tapping into the resilience that is in their DNA and using that. Not only that, the resilience also comes through coming together as a community. So even if they've not managed it on their own, they've found somebody else, they've found some community, they've made a social connection, and through that they've been able to overcome those obstacles. So not only that, I'm not saying you should be a superhero, I'm saying there's some of it that you can achieve on your own, but there's also some of it that you can achieve in community. So my challenge is this: what are you going to do today to achieve and overcome the obstacles that are in your life? All right. Blessings and love. Take care. Peace.